seeing any now. Oh, there's one story in here by H.P. Lovecraft. I guess we'll read that one. It's called The Music of Eric Zan on page 415. Okay, I'm actually gonna redo a different story because that one's just a little too long for the time that I have tonight. So maybe if you guys really want me to, I'll read that story in a different video. But for tonight, let's read. I think it's called The Vampire. Let me find it. Yes. The story is called The Vampire by J. Neruda. I think Neruda. I don't know how to pronounce her name. By Jan Neruda. Yeah. So let's go ahead and read this story. I've never read this story before. Okay. Hopefully I'm not moving the microphone too much, but I'm gonna put the book just right here, out of view so that I can read it, but also be very close on the mic. So, okay, let's begin. The excursion steamer had brought us from Constantinople to the shore of the island Principe, and we disembarked. There were not many in the party. A Polish family, mother, father, daughter, and the daughter's husband. Then we two. And I must not forget to mention that we had been joined on the wooden bridge leading across the Golden Horn in Constantinople by a Greek, quite a young man. A painter, perhaps, to judge by the portfolio which he carried under his arm. Long black tresses flowed over his shoulders. His face was pale, his eyes dark, deeply sunken in their sockets. As he interested me, especially because of his readiness to oblige and his familiarity with local affairs. But he had a good deal too much to say, and I soon turned away from him. I found the Polish family all the more pleasant. The father and mother were worthy, kindly folk, the husband an elegant young man of unassuming and polished manners. They were traveling to Principe with the object of spending the summer months there for the sake of the daughter, who was slightly ailing. From the pallor of the beautiful girl, it appeared either that she was just recovering from a severe illness or that she was about to be attacked by one. She leaned upon her husband, showed a fondness for sitting down, and a frequent dry cough interrupted her whispering. Whenever she coughed, her escort stood still in concern. He kept looking at her pityingly, and she had him, as much as to say, "There is really nothing the matter. How happy I am." They were clearly convinced of recovery and happiness. On the recommendation of the Greek who had left us immediately by the landing stage, the family had hired a lodging at the inn, which stands on the hill. The innkeeper was a Frenchman, and his whole house, in accordance with French style, was arranged comfortably and neatly. We lunched together, and when the heat of the noon had abated a little, we all made our way up the hill to a pine grove, where we could refresh ourselves with a view. Scarcely had we discovered a suitable spot and had settled down, than the Greek once more made his appearance. He greeted us in an offhand way, looked around him, and sat down only a few paces away from us. He opened his portfolio and began to draw. I believe he has purposely sat close against the rock so that we can't look at his drawing, I said. We need not look, observed the young Pole. He can see quite enough in front of us, and after a while he added, "It seems to me that he is including us in the foreground of his drawing. Let him." Truly, there was enough for us to see. There is no fair two small craft with English flags were slipping along the hard shore. One was a steamboat the size of a watchman's booth. The other was manned by about 12 rowers, and when all their oars were lifted at the same time, it was as if molten silver were trickling from them. Artless dolphins were moving in their midst and flew in long curves above the surface of the water. From time to time across the blue sky, peaceful eagles soared, measuring out a boundary between two portions of the world. The whole slope beneath us was hidden by blossoming roses with whose fragrance the air was saturated. From the cafe near the sea, music, muffled by the distance, vibrated through the stainless air. The impression was overwhelming. We all grew silent and sated our whole being with the prospect which savored of paradise. The young Polish lady was lying on the turf with her head resting in her husband's lap. The pale oval of her delicate face gained a slight color, and tears suddenly began to flow from her blue eyes. Her husband understood. He bent forward and kissed tear upon tear. Her mother also began to shed tears, and I myself was strangely moved. Mind and body must needs to be healed here. Whispered the girl. What a happy place. God knows I have no enemies, but if I had, here I would forgive them, declared the father with a trembling voice. And again all were silent. A feeling of beauty, of inexpressible sweetness came upon all. Each one felt within him a whole world of happiness, and each one would have shared this happiness with the whole world. Each one felt the same, and so none jarred upon the other. We did not even notice that the Greek, after some hour or so, had risen, closed his portfolio, and after greeting us again, he gently departed. We remained. Finally, after some hours, when the distance was hiding itself in a dusky violet hue, which in the south is so magically lovely, the mother urged us to make our way back. We arose and strolled down to the inn, our steps as free and elastic as those of children without a care in the world. Scarcely had we sat down than we heard quarreling and abuse under the veranda. Our Greek was quarreling with his innkeeper, and we listened for our amusement. The quarrel did not last long. If I had no other guest here, growled the innkeeper, and came up the steps toward us. Would you kindly tell me, sir, asked the young Pole of the innkeeper, as he came along, who this gentleman is, and what is his name? Oh, who knows what the fellow's name is, growled the innkeeper, giving a vicious glance downwards. We call him the vampire. A painter. A fine trade, he only paints corpses. If anybody in Constantinople or round about here dies, he always has a portrait of the corpse ready on the same day. The fellow paints in advance, and he never makes a mistake. The vulture. The old Polish lady gave a cry of horror. In her arms lay the daughter swooning